You know that moment where you're doing something totally normal, walking to the kitchen, unlocking your phone, sitting on the bus, and suddenly your brain whispers, "This already happened." Not like a memory, like you're watching life rerun the same 2 seconds. And if that's happened to you even once, stay with me, because we're about to pull on the thread of 5 reality glitches, and each one gets stranger the deeper you look. Déjà vu is the most famous one. It's not just remembering something, it's the sensation that the present is repeating, like a video frame stutter. You might be mid-sentence in a conversation and feel your body go tense because you know what the other person is about to say. Or you walk into a room and your brain does that snap-click recognition, as if you've stood on that exact tile, under that exact light, at that exact angle, despite knowing you haven't. One way to picture it is that your mind is always running a preview of the next moment. Most of the time, you never notice it, but sometimes the preview and the real moment line up too perfectly, like 2 tracks syncing. And your brain labels the overlap as memory, even though it's really prediction that matched. If you've ever heard of the many worlds idea, which comes from quantum physics, you can imagine the present as a hallway full of doors, and every tiny choice is a step toward one door instead of another. But what if déjà vu is the sensation of your awareness briefly brushing 2 nearly identical branches of reality at once? Like you're walking down the hallway, you lean slightly toward one door, then you correct your step and go through the other, and for a split second, your mind registers both possibilities before snapping into one. That snap can feel like a frame repeat because you didn't repeat the moment. You almost selected a twin version of it and then didn't. If déjà vu is a glitch in the present, the Mandela Effect is a glitch in the past. The Mandela Effect is when large groups of people confidently remember the same detail, like a brand logo, a movie quote, or a historical fact, in a specific way, and then discover the official version has always been different. Many cases of Mandela Effect are recorded. One of the most famous examples is from Star Wars, where in the famous scene with Darth Vader, people quote it as, "Luke, I am your father." But the actual line is, "No, I am your father." Another big one is Monopoly's rich Uncle Pennybags. Tons of people vividly remember him wearing a monocle, even though he typically doesn't. And a super common brand example is Kit Kat. Many people remember it as Kit Kat with a hyphen, but the brand is usually shown as Kit Kat without one. In everyday life, memory doesn't work like a camera. It feels like it should, like you saved a moment and can replay it later. But the brain doesn't store a perfect recording. It stores pieces. And when you remember something, your mind rebuilds the scene from those pieces in real time. That's why 2 people can live the same moment and later swear it happened differently, and it's why a tiny mistake can spread and become normal, especially online. You hear a version of a quote, a logo, a spelling. It gets repeated 1,000 times, and your brain files it as familiar. After a while, it doesn't just sound right, it feels right. Now, here's the mind-bending explanation people bring in when the Mandela Effect feels too weird to be just memory. In many worlds theory, reality might not be a single timeline. It might be branching into multiple versions whenever different outcomes are possible. Most of those versions would be almost identical because most changes are tiny. So if you imagine that kind of universe, the past wouldn't be one fixed story. It would be a cluster of near-identical histories running side by side. In one version, a brand name really was spelled the way you remember. In another version, it wasn't. In one version, a famous movie line really did land a certain way and got quoted for years. In another, the exact wording was different. Now, the most personal glitch, derealization. Ever get a feeling that what's happening is unreal? Like reality does not feel like reality? Like hyper-real and unreal at the same time? You're in a grocery store, and the fluorescent lights feel too bright. The aisles feel too long. The sounds feel far away. Or you're walking outside, and the sky looks like it's drawn. It's like you're separated from the world by invisible glass. Science says that a lot of people experience this during stress, anxiety, lack of sleep, or after a long emotional stretch. It can feel like your mind is turning down the "this is happening" volume so you can keep moving. But what if explanation is different? What if that moment is you catching a bug in a system? Simulation theory is a real idea people seriously discuss, mostly in philosophy and tech circles, that what we call reality could be more like a generated environment than a raw, independent world. In a simulation, the world can keep running perfectly while your sense of being inside it desynchronizes, like the environment is still rendered and behaving normally, but your immersion layer drops. That would explain why everything can look sharp yet wrong at the same time. The lighting feels staged, distances feel flat, sounds feel slightly delayed, and you feel like you're watching life instead of living it. The simulation wouldn't need to glitch visually. It would only need to shift how you're plugged into the experience, like your camera moved one step back while your body kept walking forward. Premonition dreams are another reality glitch. You definitely have had some version of this. You dream something ordinary, a sentence, a place, a tiny event, and then later it happens. Sometimes it's weirdly mundane, and that's what makes it creepier. Your sleeping mind is constantly mixing fragments, faces, worries, routines, and running simulations. Most dreams evaporate, but once in a while, a dream lands on a real upcoming moment so cleanly that it sticks to you like static. Then, when it happens, your body reacts first, before your logic can explain it, because it feels like time just folded. Now here's a mind-bending way you can connect premonition dreams to the many worlds theory. The many worlds idea says that when a moment has multiple possible outcomes, reality doesn't choose one and delete the rest. Instead, those outcomes continue on separate branches, like reality splitting into many parallel timelines that all exist at once. Most of the time, you only experience one branch, so life feels like one straight path. But when you're asleep, your brain isn't locked onto the immediate now, the way it is when you're awake and focused on daily life. Your dreaming mind is looser. It runs scenarios. It plays with possibilities. And if you imagine those branches are real, then a premonition dream could be your brain briefly running a scene that belongs to a branch extremely close to yours, almost identical, just a few steps ahead. So you wake up thinking it was random, and then later you walk into that exact moment and it hits you like a spoiler, not because you predicted the future like a psychic, but because you brushed past a neighboring version of your life that was already possible. And then you ended up living the branch where it happens. Now for the final glitch, the one people don't usually talk about out loud, but they remember: synchronicities, those days when reality feels a little too coordinated. You think about someone you haven't spoken to in months, and they message you that day. You learn a new word, and then you see it 3 times in 24 hours. You're stuck on a decision, and the same symbol, phrase, or theme keeps showing up like the world is underlining it for you. First, there's a totally normal reason this happens. Your brain is a pattern detector. The second something feels meaningful, your attention tags it as important, and suddenly you notice it more. The world is full of random repeats, but your mind is the thing that decides which repeats count. Sometimes it's not just "I'm noticing more," it's the timing, the sequence. It feels like one thing answers another, like you're thinking, okay, that's a coincidence, and then it happens again and again. And at some point, you're not impressed. You're suspicious, because it feels like something is arranging reality. In quantum physics, there's an idea called entanglement, where two things can be linked in a way that makes their behavior match up, even if they're far apart, not because a message is traveling between them in real time, but because they're part of the same connected system. Now, your life obviously isn't a lab experiment, but your real life is still filled with hidden connections you don't see. Social networks, algorithms, routines, the same people moving through the same schedules, the same news hitting the same feeds, moods spreading through groups. Most days, you don't feel that web at all, but every once in a while, multiple threads pull at the same time, and suddenly, you can see the shape of the web. That can feel like the universe is talking, when really you're catching a rare moment where the hidden connections line up in a visible way. You don't have to believe any of these explanations. The point is feeling it yourself. That rare moment when coincidence stops feeling like coincidence and starts feeling like reality has a pattern it's trying to show you. So that's the common thread of reality glitches. And the next time you get that frame repeat feeling, or the file changed memory, or that sudden simulated look in a normal place, you won't just brush it off. You'll pause, and you'll wonder, just for a second, whether you caught reality switching tracks right in front of you.